The afternoon sun cast long shadows across the lawn. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves, a typical summer day, except for the strange humming emanating from my backyard. Curiosity piqued, I ventured out. There, nestled amongst the daisies, was a silver object pulsating with an ethereal glow. It was smooth, metallic, and utterly alien. A low hum vibrated from within, beckoning me closer. Ignoring every instinct for self-preservation, I reached out. The metal was cool to the touch, almost inviting. As my fingers brushed against its surface, a blinding light enveloped me. A rush of disorientation, a feeling of weightlessness, then darkness. When I woke, I was no longer in my backyard. Gone was the familiar scent of freshly cut grass, replaced by something metallic and strange. My eyes struggled to adjust to the dazzling light surrounding me. A cacophony of sounds, whirring engines and melodic chimes filled the air. I was surrounded by an array of glowing buttons and swirling screens, unlike anything I'd ever seen. What had I gotten myself into? I stumbled out of the contraption, my senses overwhelmed. Towering structures scraped the sky, their metallic surfaces shimmering under an electric blue sun. Cars, no, flying vehicles zipped through the air, leaving trails of light in their wake. Below, people strolled casually, their clothes shimmering with an otherworldly luminescence. Some even conversed with what appeared to be talking animals. This was the future, a dazzling, dizzying future beyond my wildest imaginings. Excitement coursed through my veins. I was like a kid in a candy store, marveling at the technological wonders surrounding me. Holographic displays flickered with advertisements for self-flying skateboards and food replicators. Buildings twisted and turned in impossible architectural feats. Even the air seemed different, cleaner, crisper. The future was bright, literally, and I was caught in its dazzling embrace. For a moment, I forgot the strange journey that brought me here. I was lost in the spectacle of it all, a wide-eyed tourist in a world beyond imagination. The initial euphoria began to fade as the setting sun cast long shadows across the alien cityscape. The once thrilling crowds now seemed to blur into an anonymous mass. Each smiling face, a painful reminder of my own solitude. In this dazzling future, I was utterly alone. Panic began to set in, a cold knot in the pit of my stomach. How could I navigate this world, a world where even the language seemed unfamiliar? The weight of my isolation pressed down on me. I wandered aimlessly, the laughter of children and the chirping of robotic birds only amplifying my solitude. Every passerby, a stranger with a story I couldn't access. The future, once a source of wonder, now felt like a gilded cage. I yearned for the familiar, the comforting routine of my old life. The scent of my dog's fur, the warmth of my grandmother's kitchen, the sound of my father's laughter. All these seemed like distant echoes from a life I might never reclaim. Section 4, the search for identity. Hope flickered within me. If I was here in the future, then surely my future self must exist. Driven by this desperate hope, I embarked on a quest to find my older self. Surely they would have answers, a way to navigate this strange new world, perhaps even a way back home. Using the limited knowledge gleaned from observing the city, I managed to access public archives. Days turned into weeks, my search an endless cycle of dead ends and disappointments. The city, so vibrant and alive, now felt cold and indifferent to my plight. I was a ghost, searching for an echo of himself in a sea of unfamiliar faces. The more I learned about this future, the more alienating it became. My family name, once a source of comfort and identity, yielded no results in historical records. Had I traveled so far into the future that I ceased to exist in any meaningful way? Despair threatened to consume me, but I clung to the last vestiges of hope. There had to be a reason, an explanation, a way out of this labyrinth of time. Section 5. Echoes in the Void. Months had passed since my arrival, each day a painful reminder of my isolation. I found myself drawn to the highest point in the city, a towering skyscraper that pierced the electric blue sky. From this vantage point, the city sprawled beneath me, a symphony of light and sound, yet I felt utterly detached, an observer peering into a world that didn't belong to me. The wind whipped at my hair, carrying the scent of synthesized flowers and ozone. Below, the city thrummed with life, oblivious to my silent struggle. Had I been wrong to hope? Was my search for my future self a futile chase after a phantom? The vastness of the city mirrored the vast emptiness within me. I was adrift in a sea of tide, my past a distant shore I could no longer reach. What was the purpose of my journey? Was I destined to wander this future alone, a relic of a forgotten past? Section 6. Lost and Found. As I stood there, contemplating the abyss of my situation, a flicker of movement caught my eye. A small silver object, identical to the one that brought me here, lay discarded on the rooftop. It pulsed with a faint, familiar hum. A surge of adrenaline shot through me. Was this a way back? A chance to undo this journey, to reclaim the life I left behind? But as I reached for the object, doubt crept in. Would returning erase the experiences I'd had, the wonders I'd seen? This future, however isolating, had become my reality. Could I simply abandon it, even if it meant returning to a life I no longer fully remembered? The choice stretched before me, as vast and unknowable as the future itself. Lost in tomorrow, I had journeyed to a place beyond my wildest dreams. Yet in doing so, I had lost myself. Now the question wasn't just how to get back, but whether I even wanted to. The answer, like the future itself, remained shrouded in uncertainty.